Starting in verse 18 of chapter 3, 1 Peter, it says, "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, and being made alive in the Spirit, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison, because they formerly did not obey, when God's patience waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought to safety through water." Is that what you're talking about? A lot of people have interpreted this as Christ going to a certain, maybe part of hell, and preaching to a certain type of people or demons and proclaiming the gospel to them. Proclaiming maybe this is the reason why you're here, this is the reason why you're not in heaven, this is what I did for the salvation of people, proclaim the gospel to them. I think it probably means that he, in the spirit of Noah, proclaimed the gospel to the people in the day of Noah. So it's not as if Christ, whenever he died, went to some segment of hell. It was talking about the gospel being preached in the days of Noah through the spirit of Noah, or through Christ, through Noah, the gospel was proclaimed. And so I don't take it that Christ went to hell at all.
Yeah.
No intermediate state where Christ died, maybe was spent Saturday in hell.
Not.
Follow-up. I know it's a follow-up.
Yeah, going back to 1 Peter again. For this is why the gospel was preached even to those who are dead.
This is why the gospel is preached even to those who are dead. So you and I just talked about this just a moment ago. And
Whoa, wait, that's cheating. I wasn't part of that conversation.
Well, again, the idea is, did he go and preach to people in hell that are dead and proclaim the gospel to them? Or is this a preaching to those who are dead, that they are now dead, but he preached to them while they were alive? And so the interpretation that I would take is that Jesus, the gospel, was preached to those who are now dead, but it was preached to them before they were dead, and therefore they are believers even though they are dead. So, preach to those who are now dead.
I would
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, but you're not accepting it.
No, the word now is not, but that does seem to be the implication.
That did not obey.
No, I'm saying he preached to those people who are now dead.
When Peter's
the gospel
writing.
was proclaimed to them that are now dead. And the idea would be, and this is what I read from John Piper about this, and J. N.D. Kelly, who says that there were people in the day saying, what benefit is the gospel if the people who believed the gospel are now dead? It doesn't seem like there's any benefit for them since they suffer the same end as everybody else. And the idea here is that the gospel was proclaimed even to those who are now dead, and the benefits of the gospel are eternal life to those who are now dead, even though they are dead.
Well, in the verse that he first read,
Well, if it's the people that's Noah's, yeah, the question was, how come the passage seems to refer to them as them that did not obey? On either interpretation, that works just fine. If it's talking about God or Jesus speaking through Noah, then remember that Noah is a preacher of righteousness, not just to the ones that end up on the ark, but also to those that are outside that don't end up on the ark, who didn't obey. Noah's preaching righteousness to his entire family, obviously, to the 8 that are saved. He's also preaching righteousness to the crowds who refused to listen to that message and so refused to come to the ark. So it works fine either way.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you say that in that passage, it could be said that everybody, even the people who did believe the gospel and are now dead, at one point did not obey. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's a hard passage. It really is.
It is.
And that's why even in the Apostles' Creed, it talks about Jesus going to hell. One of the earliest creeds of the church that came about probably around AD 90 says that Christ descended into hell. And the majority of Christians did believe that these passages state that Christ did go to hell for a time. So it's not as if that is a completely illegitimate interpretation. I'm just saying I think that both those passages could be seen in a different light. That Christ preached through Noah the gospel to those who are in Hades now, and he's preaching to those who are now dead, that even though they are dead, the gospel was proclaimed to them, and they're experiencing the benefits of the gospel, even though they formerly did not obey. Could go either way, but I don't think Christ went to hell.